Well, what a weekend it turned out to be. If Carlsberg did weekends, they would definitely have done that weekend. Friday night we got Rio Hatate deal announced by Celtic. Saturday morning we get Matt O'Reilly deal announced by Celtic. Saturday afternoon, Saturday lunchtime, we get Matt O'Reilly scoring an absolute cracker of a goal from across from Greg Taylor. I'm going to talk about Greg Taylor in a minute because there's breaking news about him this morning and Cameron Carter-Vickers also. And then on Sunday, the comedy gold continued. And yes, the Sevco finally parted way with Agent Mo. Yep, they parted way with Beale, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And the big man Chris Sutton has had a parting shot at Mr. Beale. Anyway, Matt O'Reilly's deal was obviously fantastic. We thought that was going to be the highlight of the weekend. We thought, well, yes, we'll get a good weekend out of it. Matt O'Reilly then goes on to score, and we'll think, yeah, that's it. We didn't expect too much from the Aberdeen game, but we did get a little bit of joy. The 1.5 million signing from MK Dons is now in the same wage bracket as Callum McGregor and Kyogo Furuhashi. That's how important Celtic see him. It's obviously a massive boost for the player, but there's other players that has been said. Now, when you look at it, we've had McGregor, we've had Kyogo, we've had Dyson, we've had Lila Bada, we've had Stephen Welsh, we've had Tony Ralston and Rio Hatate. That's 7 players so far that have extended their contracts with Celtic. And you've got to remember that Brendan Rodgers did this first time round at Celtic. He extended the contracts of the core of the team, which then went on to 9 in a row. Again, has Brendan Rodgers set... No, we can't start talking about that just yet. Let's get to 3 in a row first, and then we'll start talking about perhaps maybe getting to 4 or 5. And anyway, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Greg Taylor are next up, it has been suggested this morning. And it's understood that the defenders are also earmarked for talks with Celtic to extend their stay. That would be an absolutely fantastic piece of business, getting Cameron Carter-Vickers tied up. A lot of people are saying, yeah, Greg Taylor, he comes in and out, is he Celtic class? Is he not Celtic class? Well, that cross at the weekend, that diagonal ball from outside the box to land right on the spot where Matt O'Reilly was absolutely fantastic. Another player that Chris Sutton has been talking about this morning is Rio Hatate. Chris Sutton makes a Virgil van Dijk case for the midfield player. He said there's only one Celtic player that's going to get a big move, and I mean big money move, says Chris Sutton. Teams in England and the continent rarely spend a huge amount of money on players from Scotland unless they've made their mark in Europe. And what Sutton has urged Hatate to do, he said, look, I think the new contract with Hatate is fantastic. You can understand why Celtic are doing it. He says, but he needs to do it in the Champions League. Get Hatate firing again is absolutely key to all parties. He said it's absolutely key, said Chris Sutton. He says if he becomes more successful on the pitch for Celtic, especially in the Champions League, he'll get new and improved opportunities and a big move. Unlike the goalkeeping situation, when it comes to Hatate, he's quality. There's no debate. Absolutely no debate, he says. The Japanese midfielder has shown what it takes in Europe. Last season against Real Madrid, Hatate was absolutely superb at Celtic Park, said Chris Sutton. He said against RB Leipzig, he bossed the midfield and almost helped Celtic secure a famous away result. Now, he said, Rio Hatate needs to pick up the game on Wednesday and he needs to take it to Lazio. He says he really needs to take it to Lazio and prove that he is one of the top midfield players in Europe so that he can then one day get his move. And let's face it, if we can keep him for 2 years and then sell him on in 2 years' time, it'll be a fantastic piece of business by Celtic. Now, Neil Lennon's been talking about the Lazio game. Neil Lennon believes that Celtic are favourites against Lazio, believe it or not. He reckons that they're favourites against Lazio on Wednesday night. Tell me what you think. Obviously, Lennon won against Lazio. And at Lazio, you all remember that, Papa Francesco, the old Papa Francesco song that was the Celtic fans sang out in an empty Lazio stadium after the game, and that the videos were absolutely amazing. Neil Lennon, he reckons that the 2019 result could easily be repeated. He says, look, we did it in the Europa League. There's significant 3 points here at stake at Celtic Park on Wednesday night, and he thinks that, look, Celtic can do it. They've done it before. He reckons that their improved form to date He said Celtic are getting better. He said they're getting better. The previous game against Feyenoord, Lennon noted, despite the promising start, the team faced some challenges. And then obviously reducing to 9 men. He said Celtic will keep every man on the pitch at Celtic Park. And he emphasised, he said, look, Celtic have the upper hand in this up-and-coming match. Tell me what you think about that in the comments. Do you think Celtic will get anything from against the Lazio game on Wednesday night at Celtic Park? The fans are going to have to play their part, that is for sure. And I hope Papa Francesco gets sang out around the whole stadium. The whole stadium. Now, let's get back to Chris Sutton. And we always like what they did on the news. And now, finally, back in the day, they used to end the news with a now and finally section to try and cheer us up. And we're going to do that today, this morning. We're going to have a little bit of a laugh at Mr. Beale. Chris Sutton is not, he's not shy with these words. The former Celtic striker, big man, Celtic man through and through, had a little dig at Beale. And he said, and I'm going to actually let you see what Beale said on social media afterwards. It's absolutely comical. The banter years have definitely not faded away in Scotland, that's for sure. All these years later, the banter years from 2012 are still going on. They're still going on. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's fantastic even. Right, Chris Sutton said on Twitter, X as it's now called, he said there are some managers that are just comedy acts, having a little last dig at Beale. And then, there has to be a question asked actually. How has Stephen Davis managed to get his licenses to manage in Europe? No one seems to be talking about this, but anyway, Stephen Davis is the new interim manager, and Alex Rae. Alex Rae. And the thing is as well, Rangers would like to put on record that Michael Beale, they thank Michael Beale and his staff for their efforts. They've got rid of Beale and his 4 backroom staff. Now, talking about Celtic here, this is why it is so important that Celtic have been... This is one of the reasons that Celtic have been so successful over the last 10 years. There's continuity. I know Joe Venglos saying, there's continuity in the backroom staff. When Brendan Rodgers left the last time, he tried to take some of the staff with him. He tried to take medical staff. He tried to take John Kennedy. John Kennedy's been there for a long time, and John Kennedy's now his assistant manager at Celtic. This is the why Celtic are going to move forward and be successful more and more over the next couple of years. It's the continuity of the backroom staff. This is why the team across the road are an absolute shambles, and the comedy years are back. They've never went away, the comedy years, but this is why you need to think about... People give John Kennedy a lot of stick over the last couple of years, and he's been absolutely paramount to the success of our club. Will he move on one day to become a manager on his own? We don't know. We don't know what his thoughts are behind it. He's had the opportunity. He had the opportunity to go to Aberdeen. He turned that down. He had the opportunity to go to Inverness. He also turned that down. He's a Celtic man through and through. He came through the ranks at Celtic. There'd be nothing more pleasing to him to see the success that the club is actually having. And that comes down to the board being pretty much adamant that our backroom staff go nowhere. You know, when you come in and you want to be the manager, you deal with the backroom staff that's here. Some people say it's good, some people say it's bad, but you can't knock the trophies that we've won over the years. Now, the and finally bit of the video. And finally, Michael Beale took to Instagram to say his goodbyes to the Rangers fans. And the message reads as this: "Thank you to Rangers FC, and to everyone behind the scenes, at the training ground and at Ibrox, to the board, to the staff, to the fans, boo! Fucking boo! And all the players. I will always follow and support the club from afar. I wish you every success. Now it's time for everyone to unite fully behind Steve Davis and the team." Is he having a laugh? I think he's having a parting shot laugh. I think Beale's actually having a little giggle to himself. It's like, I'm leaving you with Steve Davis. How's a snooker player managed to... Kidding. Anyway, he says, now is the time to unite fully behind Steve Davis and the team coming to the games. There's still so much to play for this season. I have a strong belief in this group of players. Thank you. Ian Beale. What the fuck? kind of statement is that? I honestly think he's actually having a laugh. And on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world. We will be going live on the channel this evening at 8 p.m. Celtic Park time. We're going to talk about Lazio. We're going to talk about everything Lazio. We're going to talk about everything Celtic and the Champions League. So on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.